to more news that we're tracking from Karnataka. In fact, a recently released technical report on the tragic Bengaluru electrocution case, which resulted in the loss of a mother and daughter, squarely attributes responsibility to the power board BESCOM. Now, the report highlights critical lapses in BESCOM's maintenance practices concerning electrical lines and the vermin-free condition of feeder units. Now, according to the findings, the absence of proper maintenance and failure to ensure a vermin-free environment led to the unfortunate incident. The report points out that if BESCOM had adhered to these necessary precautions, the devastating occurrence could have been prevented. Key revelations from the technical report include the absence of earthing for the faulty power line that was hanging precariously. Additionally, it exposes BESCOM's neglect in the care and maintenance of old and damaged power lines, shedding light on systematic issues that led to the tragic event. But remember, on November 21st, Karnataka Energy Minister K.J. George assured action against those guilty once investigation is complete. Let's listen into that.
No, nobody, even junior or senior, if somebody has committed some mistakes, they have to face the consequence. They have to take the action. Well, we don't spare even if some senior people are involved in it, we will take action against them. It is not a punishment. Suspension after the inquiry. If they found guilty, only the punishment will come. Suspension is immediately we are taken because we cannot put the same officer there and conduct an inquiry. That's why the suspension is not a punishment. After the inquiry, if they found guilty, we will take the action.
Imran, my colleague, joins me for the latest as far as this is concerned. Imran, we do understand that the reports, of course, has gone on to state that the negligence is what really caused this shocking incident. But we do remember the reaction that had come in earlier from the government that action would be taken. So on that front, are we picking up anything?
Well, the report has just come now, and it lays clearly the blame on the BESCOM officials for not earthing the tangled wires and not maintaining the wires there and not keeping the feeder unit free from the vermin. So it's blame is on the BESCOM officials, because of which now clearly that the mother and the 5-month-old her daughter lost their life. Now earlier the government had said they will, unless the report is out, they will not take action against BESCOM officials. Now, since the report is out, we yet to hear from the energy minister as to what he has to say about the report and whether he now initiate action against officials responsible for the death of the mother and the 5-year-old kid in Bengaluru who got electrocuted because of the negligence of the officials there.
Right, Imran, I appreciate you getting us the latest inputs as far as this is concerned. We leave it at that. But to understand this development better in terms of the legal aspect, as also with the fact that what choices do citizens have in such cases, I'm being joined in by KV Dhananjay, Advocate Supreme Court. Dhananjay, I appreciate you taking the time out and joining us here. Of course, my colleague did put things into perspective as far as the findings of the report is concerned. And when we talk about a city like Bengaluru, it's absolutely shocking to see that we repeatedly see such instances. As far as legal aspect of this is concerned, what should a citizen do? Unfortunately, in this case, of course, there was loss of life. But overall, how does one go ahead with this?
Well, the report, I think, is largely a whitewash. Because, you will see in the report, there is a reference to rodent presence. And the report also says that there was a dustbin where lots of edibles would be gathered, and then the rodents, proliferation was made possible by all of that. But then the report does not say what the concerned persons who are supposed to keep a check on all of this, were doing about it, because it's actually too well known that when you are dealing with high tension wires, we have periodic maintenance, which means the electricity passage through these wires would be shut off at periodic intervals when people would inspect precisely the kind of mischief that we saw last time. So you will see the report steer clear of all of that. And the report is actually saying that maybe we must have this new technology and so on and so forth. What possible technology can you have if you are going to be negligent and not bother about rodent accumulation there? Because rodent we don't really have a technology to make rodents disappear. They're talking about some exotic technology that in fact might prevent deaths like this in the future, all the while forgetting or further matter, deliberately ignoring that there were people precisely assigned to ensure that such tragedies don't occur. What is this thing called? You will nowhere in the report find a reference to periodic maintenance. Who are the persons vested with the responsibility for periodic maintenance? What kind of maintenance was done? What kind of logbook was maintained? You will find zero things about that in the report, and therefore the report certainly has a proper place to keep it, and that is in your nearest dustbin. It should really be going there. We're dealing with a tragic loss of life here, and you will see this report repeating the same thing over and over again, not identifying persons by name, not actually allocating proper responsibility, not in fact trying to find fault with any human agency within the BESCOM. And that's, I think, the failure of the report. It's insult, to injury.
As you reveal those findings of the report, and like you did mention, that with the fact that names are also not revealed, right, and which is why we don't see action as well. Even previous reports we've seen in such incidents, which is why it is all the more shocking. So, Dhananjay, essentially, where does the buck stop? Then how does one hold the government also and, companies like BESCOM accountable?
Well, I think this report is meant basically to say that the government is doing something. And what is that something? That something is saying, so-and-so was working at some particular place, so-and-so happened to wake up at so-and-so time on a day, and then started walking on the footpath. And you will find that narration come at least 7 to 8 times in the report. That actually fills up 4 to 5 pages. A lot of irrelevant detail. When I say irrelevant, what I mean to say is, a report of fact-finding, a report that is meant to find out who are the erring officers, is not going to repeat the same thing over and over again, where the victim was working, so on and so forth. They've done this just to fill up pages, just to tire out media persons who might want to read up and then actually find what this report has to say. Number one. Number two, this report simply does not tell the public. I don't think it's even meant for the public in the first instance. This report is not even worth the name, is not even worth the paper on which it is printed. It actually does not say what really was the fault of any one individual or a group of individuals within BESCOM, which fault can in fact be identified and prevented for the future. So if there is, God forbid, if we are going to see a repeat of this tragedy tomorrow morning, this report would have not had even the slightest benefit in warding of the tragedy tomorrow morning. Anybody who reads this report is not going to know head or tail about who were the individuals responsible, what preventive action can be taken. The preventive action these people are talking about is some exotic technology. And look at their arrogance. They go on to say that in no state of India do we have such exotic technology. Unfortunately, Karnataka is a corruption-ridden state. I don't know if this is going to be used as a pretext to indulge in more corruption, because it's not a question of some exotic technology. It's just a question of ordinary human diligence. There are individuals, there is a department that looks at the wire in question was in fact transmitting 11 kV worth of electricity. That's just too much. That will in fact
Dhananjay, as you make those important points and also tell us about, the fact that the report in itself has lapses. I have to apologize for interjecting you there, but I'm afraid we're short of time. But we appreciate you joining us on the show and sharing with us not only your perspective, but also shedding light on the fact that how it's exposing the report in terms of doing a very shoddy job of it, which is unfortunate. But thank you very much once again for sharing your perspective with us. We leave it at that. We're shifting our focus now to